Hey folks, this is Lucid and welcome back to our game with Late Age Elm. Got a kind of important turn, because we're trying to take a cap, and there's nothing better to slow your own roll down than to fail taking a cap. So hopefully we're successful here. We have a few events. Well, first of all, we get sent some stuff from Hinnom, so he wants us to make some things for him, which we're going to do. I told him I'm letting people who I'm trading with do like a 2-to-1 ratio in exchange for blood slaves. So these are for a horned helmet, and these are for a mind shield. Hinnom is down to like one Melkord in his capital, and he's going to try to have him defend in the gate. I don't think it will work, but we'll see. If the Melkord doesn't get completely surrounded, he might be able to do something. Anyway. In reality, I'm probably forging gear for Yes, which is not something I want to be in the business of. But we found an enchanted gate in a Garden of Pearls. It's 3 more astral income, and we already had a lot of astral income. A lot. Our total astral income now is up to 8. That is pretty darn high. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty darn high. Especially for this early. So we have pretty high astral, we have pretty high death income. Everything else is kind of piddly. So we're gonna have to figure out how we're going to spend all that. And I'm not quite sure how we're going to. But we can take a quick look. Well, we're gonna do the meat and potatoes before I get off rambling too much. So the first thing is, without further ado, here's the battle for Tartary. He didn't ride out at all, which I think the right call was probably to keep everybody inside the fort. And he's got a bunch of reanimated long dead, which was something I didn't think about. And it also appears that not all of his Death 2 dudes made it back in the fort. He had 8, and it looks like only 5 of them had made it back. And I don't think I killed any of them. Though I might have. No, I might have killed some. I thought he had 8 left, though. So some probably retreated away from the fort or died in the retreat. But normally, when you retreat on top of a fort, almost everybody goes back in. So I'm not exactly sure what happened. Not exactly sure. And there's a bunch of con. So I think his plan is to clog up the gate with these dudes so that nobody runs through, which wouldn't happen. And these guys hopefully draw fire. And then these guys make a nice little stream of, summons, and then these guys are going to shoot. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot of choices here. He's kind of just doing the best with what he can. Already a fair amount of flaming. Look at that. The thing I've lost. I don't normally play a lot of Archer Nations, but I prepared a fair. I'm trying to think which game it was. I know I tested Man in the Utgard game. In the game where I was fighting Utgard. Look at that, we just murdered our own dudes. Here used to stand some Ghoul Guardians. You can friendly fire banishment, as it turns out. One of the things I don't love about Ghoul Guardians is you end up kind of killing a lot of your own if you have priests. But you can see they were super clutch that last fight when they just took out their god. So, I think my feelings on Ghoul Guardians are, I'm kind of making a lot out of my capital. I don't know if I even want them in my main army. I mean, I probably do, but I probably want them as like special forces for thugs and air elementals. I think how I'll position them, I should be talking about the battle. We've cleared out most of these guys, and now I think the density here is low enough they've decided to attack the wall. they've routed them, and now the final shots are probably going to come in and target these guys. This guy gets the wise idea to hoof it. And now, unfortunately, you're about to see what happens to guys who stand near the people that the Rangers are pissed off at. And it's not good for them. So we just... almost all the casualties on our side, or a lot of the casualties on our side, had to do with friendly fire. Like, this guy is fucked now. It's completely... Oh, he actually survived. No afflictions either. But then, yoink. Okay. And then they get the wise idea to run. So very, very dangerous being a melee unit. What was the toll? We lost one Black Priest. This is one of my fire randoms, which kind of suck. The fire randoms actually are super useful right now. People are wanting all sorts of fire gear. Yeah. Ghoul Guardians, we lost 6. We lost 2 Ulmish Infantry, and we lost 31 Rangers. We also had some folks retreat, I think. Only 1. Oh, a Black Priest, Lothar. Did we lose? Oh, this guy retreated. Okay. Anyway, we took out all this, so traded pretty efficiently. I was going to say, you know, I've lost a lot of... Storming forts with archers is a little tricky, and it's extremely important what the archers target. You don't want them to target... Ideally, you need to kill the mages, not the chaff, is kind of one of the best rules for this, right? So, like, if there's something undead that are coming through the gate, yeah, I'm going to need some people to deal with the undead that are coming through. But I really need to kill the mages that are making the undead. So that's the idea. We also had a battle here where we are doing pure archer expansion. And this is actually not much stuff. And normally we get this next volley would kind of route things. And things would be good. But they do not route. Instead they fearlessly charge in. I mean, they are not running. Look at this, they're still not running. And then my guys run. So that ends up being very expensive. We took 18 losses, and then we lose another 5 in retreat. Now the people who retreated here, where I both have commanders, so that's not the end of the world. I should probably put this guy on guard commander. And yeah, we're just going to bring what's left of them down here, and that was a little disappointing. But it's ours now. He could potentially raid us, so we've got a decent amount of PD, and we've got some crossbows and some dudes here who, with the help of PD, will probably be able to handle 10 horsemen. And then we're going to come here. The danger with this is he can PD dump, and he doesn't really have anything left to do except to get horse archers into PD dump. So this nation, like, even though it doesn't have any more forts, it's still not out of the game. And I think it has... Well, I don't know, but I'm assuming it has a con or two, so it can trace income, even though it lost its fort. Though we'll see. The other happenings of the world is here used to stand Bogus and his army, and you can see we had a scout get patrolled out here last turn, but Bogus is gone, and oddly enough, a bunch of Deer Tribe archers are all that remain. So, yeah, they have decided to recruit Indies, which only makes me want to attack them more. And scattered about are Kuana Diviners, which are his, I think they're his Heir 2 mage. And he had a lot of those in his army. So if we look them up, yeah, it's these guys. So, what does that mean? Well, I think it means that the knight guy, the guy on the griffin, he jumped in the back lines, probably killed a few of them and scared some of them off, which is nice. Yeah, the other thing that I think is going to be kind of interesting with all this is I think I can thug this nation reasonably easily. Like, well, I don't have an air random, but once I get an air random, I think I can actually just make, because they're probably going to be my next target now, because Vanheim pieced with me. But I think I'm going to play super aggressive, guys, which I kind of don't. You don't normally need to with Ulm, but I think I've just got such a huge advantage with basically I have two great matchups which are going to last for a really long time. Like the Vanheim matchup is going to be great until he gets Aerofend or Storm or size 5 air elementals. And I think those are both probably a little ways off. Certainly having all of them is a ways off. And he's going to have a shit ton of air gems. But I also have, like, my dragon. Well, who I have to be really careful with around Vanheim. We'll see. I might be... I'm going to get elfed by Vanheim at some point. But I know I think I ended last episode talking about getting ready for Vanheim. He actually messaged me in Discord and was like, hey, dude, you know I was kidding, right? About attacking Ulm next. I was like, oh yeah, really? Really? Because we were in the game channel, I was talking about, people were talking about me having eaten this guy, and anyway, I was responding, so I think he put 2 and 2 together and was like, oh, shit, I told Lucid I was about to attack him. So anyway, he was like, you know I'm kidding, right? And I was like, oh, so you're not about to elf me? And he goes, I'll give you a nap if you want. And I said, okay. Which is good, because I was going to come over here and attack him. And honestly, this is this is almost the perfect time to attack Vanheim. But what I was not excited about doing was having to split this army, because if Vanheim was about to attack me, I was going to have to take probably about a third of this army at least, maybe even up to a half, and bring it back up here and be ready to fight. What this allows me to do, though, is to probably take 2 expansion parties to bring this whole army down here, which I think if I didn't do this, I would have to basically only have 1 party down here, which makes problems of its own, because the more time Tartary's alive, the more units he can recruit, the more PD he can dump. There's just a bunch of kind of bad anti-synergy with slowly taking the rest of his lands, especially on a nation like Tartary where everything is foreign recruit. So we're going to send this stuff over here. We're going to send this stuff over here. There is a thing with PD, like with archers, where you hit a critical mass, and once you hit that critical, like here, we have enough crossbows that we're probably going to rout most everything before it can make contact. So that's kind of nice. But we'll see. I could still suffer a pretty significant reversal here. Not one that I think would change the outcome of the war, but I might need to the problem is my archers kill my front line all the time, so I might have to replenish my front line a bit. And that's going to take a little bit of time. But that being said, our front line is pretty good. I mean, like, just archers as a front line is pretty good. You can see it's not excellent, but here I think this had more to do with the enemy not routing. Anyway. We are going to... Right, so that's this. The other news is I built a lab over here, and we've got a fort coming up in 2 turns. So hopefully nothing bad happens. We've got a fair amount of PD. We're going to move over here and keep site searching. Our god successfully took out the Kulus, and then of course we immediately attract and attack by the undead. He's back up to full HP. He's actually kind of getting wrecked. Yeah, he's definitely on the clock in these fights. And then and then he gets attacked by the undead. Which, if I weren't in friendly Dominion, this might have caused me to die, because I would have started off, like if I barely won that previous fight, I would have started off at low HP. I think without HP regen, I would have lost that first fight. Oh, we got a limp. I was noticing we started moving a little slower. All right. And our limp went away. We have recuperation because we're playing in DE. And yeah, anyway, we're going to come hit these guys. Now, what's going to happen is we are able to not move 2 underwater provinces at a time, but we can go, and I don't think, no, we can't. We can go underwater, land, underwater. Or we can go underwater, land, land. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go land, underwater, land, underwater. And then we're going to go underwater, land, land. And what that means is next turn, we're going to issue an order to attack this throne, which I pinged it a while ago. It's like, 3 circle masters or something. So it's death mages, which is a little tricky because they can dust to dust my dude. We're not in friendly Dominion. But we're going to roll in here kind of the same way we did on their capital. For the capital fight, which was... I'm probably going to position these guys all towards the back, put the dragon out in front, have him hold and then shoot. And then we'll route all of the PD. And then once, like on the script 5, once these guys have probably fatigued themselves out, I'll probably let them jump on the back. Because they're going to be tired. They'll dust to dust them like once or twice. And I think that'll be fine. I think that'll be fine. It's just they would have to land probably like 10 or something dust to dusts. And when they're fatigued out at the end, that's not very practical for them to do. So I think we're okay. Ideally, my Dominion would spread there this turn, but I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, there's not going to be any Dom pressure coming out from this side of the map for a while. And then claiming this would also be really nice because it would push Dominion here, which would allow us to take this. Because I want to be really careful taking this because Relay, who is over here, they can zip over this way. It would make me very sad. So we'll have to see. As soon as Relay comes through, I'm going to start Operation Burn the Ocean to the Ground. Which is going to suck because it's going to take a bunch of resources that we could be better spending on other things. But it is what must happen. It is what was prophesized. And yeah, we're just going to have to suck it up and do it. Some other details. We are forging a bunch of gear. We are making rings of fire. And this is for Bod. We're trying to support Bod as best we can. And then this is going to Hinnom. And they paid for these. And I'm making a small profit. I think they paid price. And so I'm making like the forge bonus discount. Which for other players, for players in a good position, I would want to charge more. But I'm almost positive. Like I'm 100% sure that, not 100%, I'm like 95% sure that Yiss is going to be present at the end of the game. And he's going to be, if he doesn't win it, he's going to be one of the big players. So anything I can do to slow down his role will, if Yiss, like if this same player were a land nation, I would be a lot more skeptical. not a lot more skeptical, unsure of whether he would make it to a game, because even any good player can suffer a coalition or a reversal. But yes, starting here on this planet, I mean, he's basically given 3 free caps, and then he gets to go invade whatever planet he wants to next. And he doesn't have to go in the water. He can go on land. So it's almost going to be impossible for most nations to resist him. So he's going to steamroll at it, it's going to go crazy out of control. So anyway, we're sending stuff to them at a bargain rate. We're wasting a lot of our, not wasting, we're spending a lot of our mage turns to do it. And I hope it makes a difference, but I'm somewhat skeptical. We're also forging this turn a horned helmet, and the mind shield we're forging over here, I think. Yeah. Here we're forging a mind shield for them. So we're spending a significant amount, and we did it last turn, a significant amount of our mage turns on forging things for other people. And it's landed us a tiny, tiny profit, but not much. Like you can see, they're sending me, this is just the cost of the mind shield, and we're making nothing on this. I'm just wasting a mage turn, right? Because this cost me 10. But if he can defend, and I also know the player too, so I'm happy to help him out. But if he can defend, all the better. Sadly, I don't think he's going to be able to defend. That's the depressing part. That's the really depressing part. I went through and I actually tested with him different things he can do, and I don't think it looks good. I think he's fucked. And the Yis player was talking about in chat how he's got quickness, great swords of sharpness, thugs. Not a very good thing to hear if you're rocking Melkorts. So that's happening. Yis is going to have 3 caps before the blink of an eye. We're going to try to be similarly aggressive. Because if you think about it, it's kind of interesting when you think about nation formation, to wax philosophical. Which in some ways is what we're simulating. And as a preface to this little bit of philosophy, nations don't have the same incentives that kingdoms and dominions do, where there can be only one and you have to ascend, right? That's not exactly it. That they have different incentives, to keep their constituents happy. And their constituents doesn't have to be the populace. It can be the rulers or the industrial elite or whatever. Anyway, what you see that still emerges from the Dominions kind of play is that if you're too small, you cannot resist the force of a larger nation, right? So if Yis got to take over, let's say Yis goes and he takes over this next, which who's going to really stop him from that, right? So Yis comes over and takes over this, right? And then Yis comes over and takes over, let's say, part of this planet, right? Well, now he's fighting with the force of 6 capitals, and somebody who is down over here, they're a 1 or a 2 cap nation versus 6 cap nation. And there's just a ton of, and maybe they're even engaged in another conflict. I mean, it's just not, you're kind of checkmate. It's not viable to be small. You have to confederate. And by confederate, I mean confederate the same way Tartary's confederating with me right now. In some ways, you have to conquer enough stuff so that you are a size where it is costly for people to attack you. And that's kind of what happens in nation formation, is depending on how big your neighbors are and how aggressive or how they're set up, you basically have to confederate to a certain size or you will get eaten. So anyway, that's kind of a thing. And I think that's too, when you look at, I promise I'll get off the philosophical waxing, but when you look at the United States formation and how the country was set up, they were really worried at the beginning that the states would all go their own way. And if they did, they would be vulnerable to this very particular thing, which is larger nations can move in and pick off one or two of the states at a time, because they'll all be squabbling over whether they should actually go and fight and this, that, or the other. In the meantime, they just come in, which is what happens in Dominions, right? So, like, imagine Yes takes over all this stuff, and then he goes and attacks one nation here. And this nation's fighting with another nation, and then other people are, like, kind of eyeing him suspiciously because they don't like him, right? They have some squabble with him. He puts out a call saying, hey, Yes is 6 capitals. He's going to come here. Who do you think is going to be next? He's going to be you guys. Well, they're going to be like, well, how do I even attack him? You know, like, the only way to attack him would be to come through your land. And then we're going to waste our lives defending your stuff. And we don't want to do that. You know, like, there's nothing for us to gain. And the water nation would be like, yeah, and they're only going to come on land, or, you know, something. You can just see it's when things are too loosely confederated, it's very hard to come together in a national defense. So anyway, that is a thing. And we are going to callously force confederate our neighbors until we get large enough that we are able to resist the evil and oppressive forces of other nations. We would never be those evil and oppressive forces ourselves as we reclaim all of Europe in the name of the Olmish Reich. Just kidding. It feels even weird joking about that. Okay, so I think we've covered... Oh, this fort finished up here. No lab yet, so I'm going to get a ranger. Rangers were one of the things I wanted a few of, so I can stealthily move some dudes around. And we're going to get some crossbowmen. When we have all those, I think we've got 11 or something recruited here. When we've got those crossbowmen built in, these guys, we're going to have about 40 crossbowmen and about 20 front line. And that's going to be enough to clear this with the help of my Drago. The thing I have to think about, I think I'm going to put him on a hold, like a 5 hold and then attack rear. Because I don't want him... Well, I guess these guys are dead. They're undead. So I don't have to worry too much about him poisoning them all, because these guys are going to get boned. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Yeah, I think that'll be it. So I think the format, it's going to be fire, 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 and then attack closest. I might ditch these dudes, because they're going to get diseased. Probably all of them will get diseased, because they'll cluster around. There's no way to keep them from clustering around my dragon, unless he gets very lucky with the breath. And I don't think they're going to be what makes me win or lose this this fight here. So go do it. It is a matter of time until Relay comes in and takes this stuff, though, which I'm very unhappy about. And from here, he's going to be able to raid all my other stuff. Or not all my other stuff. These 3 things, which I don't like. I'd much rather have 1 choke point. Because there I can just have, like, my dragon and PD dump. Are these any of these special? Oh, these are low income, but high magic site. Other news. There's a fair amount happening in the world. My partner in crime over here, Oceania, my plan had been, I'm going to come down here and take this stuff. This was the split we agreed on. They get Spain, and I get basically France. So I'm going to come in here and take France, and... anyway, that was the split we agreed. Oceania, however, has suffered a bit of an unfortunate thing, whereas I think Atlantis starts down here, early age Atlantis. And they are rolling in and attacking Oceania. And I had to pick sides here, in a way. And I think I'm probably going to pick... there's a lot of benefits to picking Oceania's side. One benefit is I get to claim all of Spain. So that's certainly going to be nice. The other thing is that I think there's another couple other people who are attacking Oceania. So I think Oceania is actually in some trouble. I think they're in some real trouble. And I don't know what all the holdings Oceania has. Like, I know they probably have a bunch of these islands and this, that, and the other. I think these are all busy being attacked by other people. Oceania seems very busy. I don't have any intel on how they're falling or how quick they're falling. I'm going to try to keep in with the Oceania player. And hopefully, if he sees the writing on the wall by like a couple turns, which is when I'll have this stuff, he'll be able to let me know, and I'll be able to just sweep in here and take this stuff. And I can even do something where I send him gold or something every turn until he falls. But I want to have my flag planted on it so that people have to make a decision. Are they going to attack me and risk war? Yeah. Because we're also not getting terribly far away from when I can empower my god in water, in earth, and in astral. I can already do astral. If I wanted to, even this turn. It's not going to mean much until I get Alt 3. But imagine I have, or especially Alt 4. Like, imagine I empower in earth and astral, and I get body ethereal, and then I have temper flesh and iron skin. Be pretty good. Be pretty darn good. And then if I have water, I also have quicken body. Or not quicken body, quicken self. And if I'm going underwater, I'll have ice shield. This guy can be a major problem for dudes underwater. And we're definitely empowering in blood. And hell power is low research. It is only 2. So we're really just constrained in blood slaves. But by the time, I mean, honestly, just getting hell power is going to knock my protection up to... It's going to... Especially if I have earth. This is a nice thing about doing an earth empower, is I don't actually... So earth 1 is going to knock me up to 14 protection, I think. Is that how that works? No, I think you have to have 3. So once I okay, if I have earth 1, natural protection I don't think goes up. But once I do hell power, it will knock me up to earth 3. And what that is going to mean is my protection is going to go to 16, which is very close to the iron skin cap of 20, right? So anyway, that gets us to 16. Oh, did I say 16? Yeah, no, that gets us to 16. Hell power then is going to add an additional 5, I think. Maybe it says on the spell. I don't think it does. Oh, it does. Protection plus 4. So that'll get us to 20. So that will get us, like, just empowering in earth and then casting hell power will get us to 20. But if I cast hell power, then I'll get, I mean, if I cast iron skin, then it'll get me to 24. It's also going to give me, not great, but at least existing attack and defense. What's interesting is if I also do astral, I can do power of the spheres. And that, if I have earth empowered, will also give me a bonus protection, because it's going to get my earth up to 4, which will mean I'm getting very close. You know, at that point I'm like 17. I'm very close to the whatchamacallit, to the threshold for iron skin. So it's like I get kind of diminishing returns on even casting it. But I have returns on just having earth as a path, even if I don't cast it. Kind of interesting. But yeah, my point in saying all of this is that we are, and I'm going to be able to magic phase move underwater and not terribly long, probably in like 15 turns. Which means even if I can't project a ton of presence around, like I can't, you know, I don't have enough armies to go conquer huge swaths of underwater, I'm going to be able to delete armies off the board with this guy. Now, he won't be able to do hell power underwater, but... and it's worth thinking about for Atlantis. I think we can kill Atlantis in our dominion, is basically what it is. They're going to be over here. So these guys hurt. They hit really hard. So Body Ethereal is not going to be great versus Atlantis. We do have Pierce resistance built into the chassis. Yeah. They'll be hard to tank, though. Because even if we get up to, like, you know, we cast Iron Skin, that gets us up to 20 protection, we're still going to be taking a lot of damage. We start throwing on Dancing Shield, though, which will be coming up pretty soon. That'll cut the damage in half. And, you know, Bracer of Protection will help a little bit. I don't think that's really the play. Anyway, there's probably a few different things we can do to start cutting this down. They have cold resistance, too, so we can't do, like, Breath of Winter and put them all to sleep. Yeah, these will be a little tricky for me to bully with my god. And then he also has super combatants that would, you know, he could make a Holy Scourge or something and spank my god. But if I'm the one magic phasing, I get to pick which fights we have, not him. So anyway, all things to consider. The other thing that happened was Pons explored the ruins of the old god, of the old emperor. A crossbow bolt shot out from a trap and hit Pons. A huge ballista bolt shot out from a trap and hit Pons. Pons found a treasure worth 519 gold. So he got smacked around a bit. He got a crossbow and a ballista bolt, but he's got really high protection. He has Twist Fate. Everything was okay, and he got $500. So in my mind, Pons has kind of paid for himself. Like the gear, the turns, he's probably paid for himself. We're going to have him go in again. Hopefully he doesn't die this turn. Because what I've got is I've got Clockan coming in, who probably is not going to be long for the Worlds. But we're going to switch the gear out. We're going to put the gear on this guy. And hopefully we can let this guy lead my armies. That is the plan. And if that can happen... that would be excellent, because he's got, you know, we can put people in formations. He can have a huge amount of dudes. You know, he gets an inspirational bonus. It's really nice. I don't think it's quite worth... Maybe it's worth not having him enter the site. We're going to have him enter the site, because we're making a YouTube video about this, and we're going to do cool stuff, like go in the dungeon every single turn. But there's a very good chance. The ways you die, like for Pons to die, either is like a big party attacking him. More often than not, it's going to be a disintegrate trap. Or getting sent to the Inferno. And both of those are going to mean he dies. It's basically what it is. There's not much away from it. Or ways around it. So I think we've covered all of the important things for this turn. We're setting up to take the throne. We're taking back territory from the dead. We are expanding out, and we have successfully conquered this, and we've turned on unit production. And we are about to go crazy. We're going to make a decision over what's our next move. Is it to take these guys out, or is it to take the... I need to fight these guys before they have Storm and before they have Thunderstrike. So we know they already have Lightning Bolt, which is 2. They're probably going to get Mist reasonably soon, so I'll fight them with Mist, so my stuff's going to be less accurate, which is fine. They're going to be less accurate too with Lightning Bolt. When they get Thunderstrike, it's going to be a bit of a problem, but it'll be manageable. But once they get Storm and Storm Power and Thunderstrike, then I'm in trouble, because then my arrows aren't going to work very well, which is what I'm relying on at this point. I do not want to try to fight a war with these guys where I'm relying on infantry to go smack them, and they're running into like Thunderstrike and shit. I don't like that at all. What I do kind of like is a bunch of archers in sparse formations that are killing all of their mages in the first salvo while they're sitting there trying to do like storm power or something. Or like their first turn they cast the air shield, and meanwhile like half of them die. So yeah, that is what I want to do. I forget who all the neighbors are over here. I know Rotterdam is over here. I think that's his flag. And then Vanheim's up here. But I don't know. If we come over here and conquer this, it will be very good. We need to do it kind of quickly. But it should be an excellent matchup for us. And I think so here's my plan. I've been saying I want to get off the continent, but this piece with Vanheim makes me want to kill these guys. So we're going to run and take this. We will have most of Europe. After that, I'm going to try to secure peace. If I can secure peace with whoever's down here. But see, this could go in so many ways. Like if I get over here and I discover Rotterdam is really weak, then I might just come over and eat them too. But at some point, I'm going to keep expanding. Here's my plan. I'm going to keep expanding this direction until either I find somebody who's very friendly and like wants a long-term alliance, or until I stop finding weak nations, in which case I'll be the one that wants a long-term alliance. And when that has happened, then I'm going to shift up and probably kill Vanheim. Because Vanheim, in many ways for me, is a kind of existential threat. Not in the sense they're a bad matchup, but just they're always going to be sitting here waiting to elf me. And there's no way the game goes on that long where they don't elf me, in my opinion. I think that's the way to think about it. So we'll take the fight on our terms. Yeah. We just have to figure out what those terms are going to be. So anyway, those are the plans. Those are the master plans. But once I do that, I probably want to go jump to another planet. I don't want to have like a conquest for this whole planet. I don't really want that. But I think that will be the end of the episode. I will see you guys next time.